There it is.
There we
Welcome,
go.
everybody.
Wow.
Welcome back to another edition of Small Business Spotlight. We have two friends of mine today. I'm happy to have them here with me, Rick and Natascha Weedon. Say hi, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, hello world.
Thanks for having
So this
us.
is
Yeah, Drew.
no, of
Thank
Really
course,
you.
guys.
appreciate you having us.
No, it's my honor, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. So Rick and Natascha are into wellness, and they have a real passion for what they do. And I love talking to them, and I want to give you guys a chance to talk to them as well. So if you guys have questions, please post them in the chat in the comment section below, and we'll get to them as we can. But I want to give them a chance to share their story. So guys, tell us more about what got you into wellness, where your passion comes from, and yeah, we'll start with that, and we can go from there.
Awesome. You can go. You go.
Well, for me, this is what we do as a couple.
Always, yes.
It's just great having your best friend first of all, and kind of working with her and being with her. So it's fun. But for me, this all happened. I've been an athlete all my life. So it started really early in my life where well-being and wellness was always important because I played every sport there was. And it was just kind of a thing for me. Even today, it kind of trips me out because kids today don't want to go outside. They'd rather play games. And I was always the one that wanted to be outside. So I think in my 30s, to fast forward this, in my mid 30s is when things started not being able to like drop off, or my stamina, endurance, or the way I played basketball or any sport I was in, I could see and feel a difference in my body. So that kind of put me on that track. Like, wow, is this what aging means? Is this what kind of getting old means? Like, I have to, my well-being is going to go downhill. And when Tasha and I met and actually got involved in wellness and well-being because of a crisis I was in as a corporate guy, as many corporate people out there probably do, is you're always busy. I was always on the move. I was always on the go, neglecting food and neglecting my choices and things that I was doing for myself, and having a lot of fun and just really not really focused and thoughtful about my overall well-being. So when I was about 6'3", and I was at the time 8 years ago about 268, 270 pounds, and something had to give because doctors and everyone was telling me that if something doesn't give, we're going to put you on these prescriptions, or I'm just going to live this life where I gave up and forewent a lot of my sports activities for like 2 or 3 years because I didn't want to have a heart attack on the court. So within about 8 weeks of us kind of aligning with a well-being and nutritional protocol and a company which we'll talk a little bit about that really I think does it right in terms of addressing well-being as a whole. In fact, our new tagline is like the art of well-being. It's all about the many layers of well-being. But to fast forward back then, within 8 weeks, I had really kind of reversed things, had kind of dropped around 40, 43 pounds. And Drew, to be honest, we never looked back. I never looked back after that. And I was hooked, still in corporate America, but was hooked on the ability for, especially as I was aging, that aging didn't necessarily mean that you had to be diminished in your abilities, physically. And that's what I'm finding, and that's what I've found so far. So we'll talk more about it, but that's kind of my short story about
Yeah, and just to to piggyback on that, because I think that's such a great point. I think that's really in a big nutshell why we are where we are. That the body has the power to heal. The body is the miracle. We have found ways to allow that body to be the miracle instead of, it having to be, doing fad things or diets or things that don't work and things like that. But that's the wellness thing. My background, I've been in wellness for about 16 years. I came from, PR and marketing and import, export and things like that. And then I think in the 2000s is really when wellness was, just coming out more, and, more people were getting aware and questioning what was happening out there in the world with the foods and the food industry and what people were talking about and telling the masses to do and how it was affecting the masses. And things like that. So I've been involved in them, and yes, very much so. It was, Rick going through his health crisis that really just put us on a trajectory of, hey, there's choices, there's knowledge, there's things here to help people. We don't have to walk around like sheeple and listening to whatever the masses put out there. So we just feel just really empowered and in a place of uplifting and helping people to find that freedom, that control, that power within themselves, and through a community that just wants to level up health, level up financial, level up mindset. I mean, I really feel like we're kind of a collective. Well Through Wellness is really a lifestyle collective on that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I love that. I love you guys talking about the wellness and the well-being as a way of being, right? And I think a lot of folks can relate to that journey that Rick talked about and that Natascha alluded to. It's one of those things where you get to develop these habits, right? And over time, those habits kind of deteriorate, and you don't see it happening as much until it's like, oh wait, I'm at this place here where I wasn't before. I can't do the things now that I used to do before, and it's kind of a wake up call, right? But like you said, Rick, you don't want to get to that point, right? You want to get there beforehand, and that proactive adopting that like well-being mindset earlier on, and then making those healthy choices earlier. That's really powerful. And so tell me more about the clients you guys work with and how you guys help them, and what are some things people deal with that you guys can what do your clients deal with more often than not that you help them with?
So I just want to piggyback on something you said, because I think that before we go there, that well-being is, man, we just don't know enough, as Tasha was alluding to earlier. We just kind of go with the flow. Life takes over, job, work, family, just life kind of takes over, and we just kind of don't take heed of that. And wellness and well-being and health is personal, so it's really a personal thing. And our goal and what we do and the people that we look to help and assist are those who are open to concepts and ideas around, as Tasha was alluding to earlier, not the status quo. The status quo has kind of gotten us to where we are. I think we're, as far as medicine and technology and science, our country leads every other country in those areas. But we also lead in ways that aren't as helpful because, one, we become a westernized culture or exported westernization of convenience and fast food and get it ready now. It's like everything has to be now. So, and that's the same thing with how we eat. I had the pleasure of going to India 2 summers ago with Tasha, who's a native, and my wife took me there, and it was great. But food was, it was a cultural thing where people sat around and ate, and they they had diversity in their foods, and it wasn't like a fast meal.
It was an experience.
It's an experience, right? It's like sitting down, experience, talking, and I think that used to be in this country too. When I was a kid, we used to sit down for dinner. We used to sit down if you were available for lunch or even for breakfast. And those are things we don't do now. So we look to help through folks who are really, and hopefully there's a lot of folks out there who are looking for assistance, but we like to help people who are just open to concepts of well-being. Like, how can I feel better, look better, play better, be more active better? If those things are important to them, and also obviously the ultimate value is, how can I, the way I say it is, live healthier longer and be active. And some of the strategies and protocols that we promote and that we discuss and that we share with others are along those lines of not dieting, not fads and trendiness, like Tasha was saying earlier, but more about longevity, lifestyle, something that you can incorporate and do that does have the convenience factor, which can be a convenience factor, but also has just substantive things that the body really requires to be its best. And that's kind of where what we focus on is kind of like, as Tasha was alluding earlier, was that, feeding the body and at the cellular level, at a nutritional level, as opposed to experimenting or just kind of going, haphazardly about it.
Right. And also not just one thing being the quick fix or the answer, like not just one company or a product or it's a coming together. It's a collective, and I keep using the word collective. I guess it's my word today. It's a collective of, people who are, scientists or experts who are, bringing ideas together. It's people who are living the journey of looking for health within themselves and then having a burning desire to share it with others. It is good, we partner with an amazing company that we, their products.
Global
it is
leader in nutrition.
And a fulfillment company. So, it's part of that strategy, but we really, we love, everybody's an individual. Everybody is different. Everybody's body is different. And it's about finding what that each person needs to light it up. What is that miracle that makes that body? And having systems in place, and we do. We have these protocols that are there for, a reset, something to kickstart, to kind of renew and rejuvenate where you are, to reaching a long-term goal, or, we're not, we don't treat, cure, diagnose anything. But we have the ideas, the concepts, and the protocols, along with products and the types of fork and knife food that's there, to be able to bring the body into balance, to be able to make it so it can be the miracle and can function on the best level it can.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. We're entrepreneurs and well-being coaches, and that's kind of where the space we operate in. So we're not, nobody here's a doctor. I'm not a personal trainer or anything, but I'm my background is as a law grad, and I do a lot of research, and I've done a lot of studying in this subject matter over the last 8 years. So I feel like I have some expertise that I'm gaining and continuing to learn in this area of well-being.
And I think the greatest thing also is this whole concept now. Drew, I know you talk so much, and I love your talks with people because you talk about things that are happening today, right now, that is going on in our world, in our culture. And it's so much, especially now, what we've gone through in the last year and everything. It's so much about community. It's it's that thing of going to a job and a boss and that sort of just, looking out for number one. And you know what? I don't know if it ever really worked, but it definitely is not going to be working now. It's so much about, I believe, in uplifting and really collaborating with other people. And so we found that to be such a great gift with what we do, because it is really about that community and finding that place where we can share information. So, we partner with incredible people who are experts in the areas of, food and nutrition and other areas too, where, things that are good for your life. Like, what do you need? Is it a health goal? Is it something? I mean, what if financial stress wasn't on the table for you, So, experts in that area. And it's about bringing those people together again in a collective. It's about bringing them together and having these things. And, we partner with an amazing company. The company is Isagenix, and they've been around for many years and done some incredible things. And then researchers and people within that. But it's not selling a product. It's not one. It's a concept, and it's concepts brought together by us. And I think that's what kind of brings Wealth Through Wellness into play.
No, I think that's powerful. I think that's awesome. I love that you guys mentioned especially Rick mentioned the quick fix idea and mentality nowadays of like, you want that silver bullet right now, right? I mean, we've got this culture of instant gratification, right? Ronnie Chang, I reference him a lot, but Ronnie Chang has this comedy bit, which is hilarious, on Netflix. If you haven't checked it out yet, it's hilarious. It's called Asian Comedian or Chinese Comedian Destroys America.
Oh,
That's
wow.
not obviously not what he does, but it's hilarious. It's on Netflix, and he has this bit where he talks about Amazon. He's like, "You had Prime at first, Prime 2-day delivery. He's like, that wasn't enough. You have 2-hour delivery. No, I need 2 hours. I need it right now. Prime now. Not Prime 2 days. Prime now. It's like it gets faster and faster. It's like eventually you get to the point where someone's gonna show up and like feed you food for you at this point, right? And then put it down your throat, chew for you, and then it's extreme, but it's hilarious, right? But that's exactly that thing though. Wellness, fitness, health, mental wellness, physical wellness, those are things, well-being in general, they're not quick fixes, and they're not things that you can do one time and then snap your fingers and then suddenly you're healthy and you have wellness, right? I've achieved wellness, right? It's not something you achieve. It's a lifestyle. It's a consistent thing. And it's you got to be consistent in it, like you said, I think a lot of athletes will relate to that, to your experience.
Absolutely.
Being able to maintain that,
Yeah, I was going to piggyback on that and say, I think you're right. I think that, when it's a journey. There is no, even in life, in our relationship and everything, it's not, there's no destination. The destination is to just always try to get better. I've coined the phrase because of, in being in sales, and I've had a background in financial services and so forth. And there's a phrase that everybody uses, like always ABC, always meant always be closing, in the sales world. But for me, I've kind of redefined that and say, always be curious. ABC to me is like always be curious. And there's so much information out here. Obviously, there's a lot of distractive information. I guess I'm a hot and cold on technology, right? Because there's so much disinformation out there, and people can get caught up in the disinformation that fact becomes more like movable or it shifts, which I don't necessarily believe. I think science, math, they're practicalities of things that are truth. And what we try to do is, I think I said we're entrepreneurs and coaches, but we're also educators. And part of my goal is to sit down with someone, again, who's open, who's available, who's looking to kind of understand what's possible through well-being, to have those conversations, point them in the direction. For example, I'll give you one example. I've read a book called Salt, Sugar, Fat twice. And that's a great reference book because it really chronicles, the utilization of those three ingredients in a negative way through the commercial food industries, and how that's negatively impacted our society. In that book, they chronicle a moment where all these leaders come together, all these big companies come together, and I believe it was in the 90s, and essentially are shown through a variety of data that, in fact, those elements of food and the processing of them and the way that they're done are negatively impacting our society health-wise. And the leaders of those companies were kind of like disinterested, and essentially were like, look, we live in a country that's profit-driven, that's, there's politicization and things, and they're looking for the bottom line. And it's up to us, it's up to us. It's up to people like Tasha and I think we've taken on this mantle to just really kind of have an opportunity to share what we know and are learning and continuing to learn with others, and point them in a direction that maybe they can learn those things too and adopt them. Because like I said before, it's personal. We're not here to coerce or beat somebody over the head with what we do. We just want to provide, man, hopefully good information that they can follow up with and make smart decisions for their well-being. And if it's working with us, great. If it's not, at least they take away maybe something that's helpful for them in that lifestyle journey.
Yeah, and Drew, just going back to what you had brought up earlier, I feel like 2020 has been such a big place where we kind of had to pivot, just sort of go from where we were, offering things to doing other things. And a couple of things that we do have to do with our resets, So, these are great places for people out there, because so many are not sure. And especially right now, living in a time of a bit of fear. All sorts of, the pandemic. Just things happening in the country and racially and politically and everything. You know, we've been able to be. I love that. I'm so grateful to be able that Rick and I were able to be in service to so many people with these resets, and they're really just sort of a kickstart of getting your body. They're 11 days, and we do them. One was very much came from the company that we partner with Isagenix. That was, you know, a system that happened, but it just sort of allowed the body to remove, you know, dredge and toxins and things like that, and really, you know, rejuvenate itself and all. And then more recently, we've added on a second protocol called the ER Shred, which has been just almost bringing people alive again, which has been super, super exciting.
Well, we got to give credit too, because that's you know,
creative.
the company was the foundation of what we're doing is through our company, but a couple who are dynamic, Sean and Crystal, I'll just give them a shout out.
Sean and Crystal Escobar,
and
Jesse Jamnick.
And they've kind of, you know, done some of their own research and found some things that I've discovered through my, you know, follow-ups.
Exactly what
that
I wanted
this
to.
is really a way that can, you know, allow the body to be, as Tasha was saying earlier, just giving it what it needs, as opposed to living through what we think, or living through trends, or living through diets, or living through, you know, and I'm not, we're not here to bash anyone or anybody or tell anyone that what they're doing is wrong. But even gym memberships, you know, a lot of people have gym memberships that they may go, you know, I think they go like what, January, February, March, and the rest of the year they don't. So you know, it's kind of tough. So we just want to make sure that people have that information that can be helpful.
So
Yeah. No, but that's
sorry, I didn't know.
That's fine. No, there's a lot you guys said, and I want to call out a couple things. One is definitely the reset idea, right? I mean, after, you know, you have these years, decades sometimes of just poor habits and poor taking care of your body, because there is so much disinformation, which is the other thing you mentioned, right? Misinformation and disinformation out there, both, right? There's the intentional and the unintentional wrong information out there, and you know, people don't realize that what's in the food that they eat on a daily basis, you know, and the genesis of that. I love that you guys mentioned the companies and how they're profit driven. They're not health driven, so they don't really care at the end of the day how healthy people are. You know, they care about pushing their products. You know, I say it like that intentionally because they do sound like drug dealers at some levels, right? They're creating addictions.
Food is
that's
the
what
biggest
drug.
Food is the biggest drug.
I mean, I'm guilty of it too. I love food. I love sugar, right? But sugar is one of the most addictive substances on the planet, right? And it's one of those things where you don't realize what's in your food till you look at it. I mean, take high fructose corn syrup, for example, right? This is something that it's in a lot of stuff that we eat. We don't realize it, but it came out of the desire to save the corn industry, right? And that came out of the 50s and 60s, I think it was, or maybe even earlier. I'm not sure the decade, but I know it was a period a long time ago where they were just pushing this stuff. They wanted to save the corn industry because that was a huge industry, right? It was part of the economy, and it was to save the economy. It's like, let's sacrifice health to save the economy, and that has become a trend. It's not. I don't know if it was an active decision back then to say that specifically. I don't know that they did the research, but ultimately, there's a reason we're the fattest country in the world, right? I mean, because we focus on the economy over health, right? And you know, you have things that are just not thought of. But I love that you guys mentioned the disinformation and the misinformation, and just getting educated is not enough because you don't know if the education you're reading is right? So having someone like you guys in your life where you can just to talk with them, like, hey, Tasha and Rick, I read this really cool article that says that, you know, if I eat this much sugar, it's bad, but if I eat 100 grams of sugar, suddenly it's good. No, why? What are you reading? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, but there's idiots out there that say stuff like that. And I say that I feel like saying idiots. I apologize to some people, but honestly, it's really frustrating to see people do that, right? Because that information is out there about wellness in all senses of the word, right? Health, right? In terms of diet, in terms of, you know, and I don't mean diet short term. I mean diet isn't like long term, like what you put in your body, right? The mental health stuff, right? I mean, and then they throw politics in there just for good measure, because you know everything else is in there. Might as well throw politics in there and make it into a political question. Health and science are not political questions, right? And the stuff you guys are at, that's why I appreciate what you guys do, because it cuts down. It's not political. It's not religious. It's not, it's not about what you believe. You can believe if you want, or you cannot believe. But guess what? If you eat a shit ton of sugar, you're gonna get diabetes.
That's it.
So true, man. It's so true. And I think, just like you were saying, I think part of what we did, we just became more intentional. So part of what we do now is we do educational seminars or workshops or Zooms, information sessions. Tasha does them to educate women on these issues. We do them once or twice a month. I do them with men. We come together collectively and we do 2 to 3 resets per month with people. We coach them through these resets, these 11-day resets. And as Tasha was alluding to earlier, and as you're talking about, we want to enlighten them to what's possible, and I don't, we're not here to beat, as I said earlier, beat people over the head, but we want to show people what's possible through proper nutrition. Sleep is amazing. I saw a guy today, a good friend of ours, who he's like not sleeping. And, it hurts because people don't realize, like, we're awake now, we're doing our work, but while we're sleeping, it's, 7 to 9 hours we should get. Your body's doing its work internally. It's repairing itself. It's giving it an opportunity for it to be that person the next day that you need it to. Exercise is very important, but if you talk to experts and, trainers or anyone, they'll tell you it's maybe 20% of your total well-being is that working out, which I do every day, 6 days a week. You should get in 20 minutes, 15, 20, half hour if you can, of some type of movement, whatever that works for you. And then obviously hydration. We don't drink enough water. People are drinking sodas and all these other types of sugary drinks, as we alluded to earlier, that they don't realize what happens over time and how that impacts their bodies over time. And they wonder why, maybe 4 or 5 years from now, they're 10 pounds heavier. And they got, cases of Coke or I won't say, whatever, sodas in the thing. I don't want to, I don't want to say
Brand awareness.
Yeah, I don't want to. But the point is too, and then we talk to them about the proper, foods, and along with what, like Tasha said, we're blessed to be part of a company that, was founded upon the principles of no compromise, founded upon the principles of ensuring that there's nothing harmful, no GMOs, no soy, no artificial anything, no high fructose corn syrup, but sugar in general. Your body needs it. Your brain needs it. I mean, it operates on it if it's proper sugar, as opposed to artificially or pumped in there. So these are the types of things that we've been doing starting actually last year, because of the pandemic, because of the way life is, because more people are becoming more aware, which is good. We're saddened because the pandemic has hit our family in a horrible way, as it's probably hit many out there. But we're also hopeful that this is giving people that opportunity to wake up, to kind of be more aware of their wellness and well-being and what they need to do to be more preventive oriented, as opposed to, as you were saying earlier, health is more treatment of sickness as opposed to prevention. And we're on the prevention side, wanting to give people the tools and arm them so that they have all that they need to be the best version of themselves, physically and mentally and spiritually, and all the
things
areas
you need
of
to
well-being,
live a blessed life
financially.
And Drew, you were saying, just with some of the people we've helped, especially over the last few months with the, these protocols and everything, it's just been, it brings tears to our eyes and joy to our heart, because it's why we're doing what we're doing. When we have these testimonials and people giving us texts and calls and all that are, their inflammation is gone. They're no longer taking pain meds, for sore things or whatever, because, or just, gut issues and bloat and cravings, and culprits and more energy and better sleep and skin and hair and nails. And of course, weight loss.
Right.
That's for so many people. But for me, we do them ourselves. So, there's nothing that we can't speak to when we are with our clients. Like, if there's the issues, because we've done them themselves. Rick is very much he's the disciplined coach. Nerd. He's the nerd for the science. I am the fly by night. If there's a rule I can break, I will. I don't like giving up my, my glass of wine or my, and then what I love about what we do is all of that is allowed to be in there. This is not about some strict thing that this is about meeting people where they are.
It's not a life sentence, it's a lifestyle.
Exactly. I love that one. Yeah. And it's just about giving people the tools.
Right.
So they can have the power and control and make decisions for themselves, their own body, instead of the world making it, or a company making it, or a product, you know what I mean, or media, or whatever. You're making it for yourself, and you're part of a community like us. We're Well Through Wellness, and and you're making it for yourself. And there are people who are there uplifting and rising because they care about how they're feeling for themselves, and they care about each other. And it really becomes that tribe community thing that
Wolfpack.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're just super passionate. I mean, it just brings. I had a talk with one of our ladies on our reset, and she's had issues her whole life. Every time she eats something, or almost every time, and these resets are just. I mean, she's free. She's free, and those kind of things. It's like, this is why we're here. This is why we're doing what we're doing. And we're just grateful. We're grateful to, to just being able to be given this opportunity. It's really, sorry, it's a little emotional for me.
No, I totally understand. It's powerful. I mean, you take control of your health, and it has life-changing effects. You can do things you weren't always able to do, right? I mean, like, you can live your life to the fullest, right? And that's ultimately what we're all here to do. And so we're coming up right on time here, but I wanted to give you guys, so how do folks get in touch with you? And more also along the same lines, when do you guys have those kind of things you guys do, those live streams or those webinars you guys offer? If you guys could say a few minutes about that and just talk about, how people can get in touch with you, and then the webinars you guys do.
Okay.
Sure. I'll just start with myself. And I'd love to, come back or perhaps you'll have us back, because there's one area that we losing time. We really want to talk about the financial aspect of well-being as well at some point in the future, because I'm a follower of Robert Kiyosaki. There's some basic principles that people need to be aware of that I wasn't aware of in all the schooling that I've gotten about some of these concepts of income derivation, how we derive income. So, but you can reach me or reach us through Facebook, Rick Weedon. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can email us at rickandnatasha@gmail.com.
Or wellthroughwellness7@gmail.com. We are at wellthroughwellness.com as well.
And you can find us, like, the things that we promote as far as the women's and men's talks and the Zooms that we do. We promote those online, typically on Facebook, on social media, and LinkedIn and so forth. So you can probably do that, or contact us directly.
Natascha Weedon on Facebook, and we do have a Well Through Wellness Facebook page. We also have an Instagram Well Through Wellness page.
That's that's through is THRU.
Right.
Well Through THRU Wellness.
Right. And I think what Rick was saying was on point. We could sit and talk with you forever, but we come across a lot of people who have the health stuff and everything, but Drew, if your health can be in a perfect space, but if you're stressed out about your bills or your financial situation, you're still not healthy.
And especially the way the economy is going and so forth. So
the kind of thing that what we do and all is also, it's so referral based. It's so word of mouth. You're getting amazing things happening to yourself. You're feeling so good. You're naturally sharing it, and that is bringing, a way to bring an income stream or into your.
So perhaps that's a way for us to plug trying to get back on your show.
Because It's been so much fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. We
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
And we
So
love you,
thankful,
Drew.
man.
We love what you're
Yeah.
doing. You're out there.
It's a great service.
Your background also, you're a recovered lawyer as well, right? Just like my husband.
Yep, exactly. Recovery.
Both of you in recovery.
In recovery, 100%. And yeah, no, absolutely. There's a whole financial aspect of things, and if you're stressed, doesn't matter what. Even if you're eating the best things in the world, if you're stressed, the internal workings are not going to work out for sure.
And on top of that, mindset, because nothing happens without that. So there's, you know,
It's the first start.
Yeah,
So
100%. Yeah, no, that's a whole nother, like you said, we could talk for days about this stuff, honestly. But yeah, no, it's a great glimpse into you guys' world, and we'll put all your contact information into the description below. For those of you who tuned in, please, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Please reach out to them, Natascha and Rick, if you have questions. Feel free to leave comments, questions below. And yeah, tune in next time. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, subscribe.
We had such a great time, Drew. Thank you so much. And thanks for all that you do.
God bless.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
All right.
Bye.